Hello everybody, this is Precalculus, Chapter 2, Part 2, and this covers adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing functions. So in general, all standard arithmetic operations performed with numbers can also be performed with functions. The rules are exactly as you would expect. Alright, so here's some examples. Let f of x equal x minus 4, and g of x is going to equal 2x plus 1. So for a, we're supposed to find f plus g of x. And what this really means is f of x plus g of x. So we're just going to replace f of x with our x minus 4 right there. And then we're going to add that to our g of x, which is 2x plus 1. So all that's asking us is for us to add our two functions together. So we're going to add our like terms. X plus 2x would be 3x, and negative 4, positive 1 would be negative 3. So that's 3x minus 3 is the answer to that one. Alright, so that's how you would add a function. We'll do b. And in b, it just asks us to subtract those two functions. So we need f of x minus g of x. So for b, we need f minus g of x. And really that just means f of x minus g of x. Okay, f of x is x minus 4. And we're subtracting, so on this one I'm going to put it in parentheses, 2x minus 1. Oops. Okay, I put that in parentheses because we have to distribute this negative sign. We're subtracting the whole function, not just the 2x. So that would really be x minus 4, and then if we distribute this negative sign, we would get negative 2x, and then distribute it to there, so negative times a negative would make a positive 1. Now we're going to add our like terms. X minus 2x, we would end up with negative x, and negative 4 and positive 1 would be negative 3. Oh, that was supposed to be a plus right there. Whoopsie. Yep, so that would make that be a negative. Make sure you copy that down properly. That'll be negative 1, and that would make that be negative 5. Negative 4, negative 1, it's negative 5. X minus 5. Alright, the next couple, one is multiplying two functions, and the other one is dividing two functions. So C, we have to multiply the two functions. So F times G F times G of X, right? And if we distribute that, we would end up with F of X, right, times G of X. Okay, our f of x is x minus 4. And we're multiplying that times our g of x, which is 2x plus 1. Okay, and here we're just going to rainbow these. So x times x squared would be x times 2x would be 2x squared. X times 1 would be positive x. Negative 4 be negative 2 times 4 is 8x, and then negative 4 times 1 would be negative 4. Then we can combine our like terms in the middle. Minus 7x minus 4. Yep. Alright, and then there's one more that we're going to divide. And there's not a whole lot to do on that one. So this one has f over g of x, right? And so that just means f of x over g of x, right? So we put our f of x on the top, that's x minus 4, and our g of x on the bottom, which is 2x plus 1. And we can't reduce that at all. That is just the answer right there. So that's it. In each of the four parts, our answer is a new function which takes in an input number and yields an output number just like any other function. So basically we just put two functions together. So if we had f over g of x, right, and it asks us to find something, we put something in there. So if it asks us to find f over g of 2, right, we would just put 2 wherever the x is in this function and then solve. All right, a big warning. The parentheses right here does not mean that you're multiplying your x times your f plus g. In function notation, those parentheses just mean of x. All right, we can also perform the same operations between functions and a number. So here's our f of x. It's x plus 1 over x minus 2. For a, we have to find f of x plus 2. Okay, so all we have to do is replace our f of x with what it tells us f of x is. So that would be x plus 1 over x minus 2. And then we're adding 2. And it's easy if we put that on the bottom of a fraction, right? Now, so we got to make this be like terms, right? So we need to multiply this times x minus 2. And this times x minus 2. Right, to get our bottoms the same there. So this one stays the same. Now this one is we gotta distribute that 2 there. Right, 2 times 2 is 4 over x minus 2. And now we can put our like terms together. So x plus 2x would be 3x. And positive 1, negative 4 would be negative 3 over x minus 2. There it is. Okay. Pretty easy on that one. Alright, so the next one, it wants us to do 2 minus our function. So our 2 is going to come first. Get a color here. Alright, so for B, we're doing 2 minus f of x. So we're just going to replace our f of x with what it tells us that is, right? So we're going to do 2 minus x plus 1 over x minus 2. Again, we got to put that over 1. Now we got to get a common denominator. So we multiplied this whole thing times x minus 2, right? Top and bottom. And we're going to get 2 times x will be 2x. 2 times 2 will be negative 4. And then 1 times x minus 2 would be x minus 2. And then we're subtracting x plus 1 over x minus 2. Now remember, we went over this last year. If we wanted to make this be a positive, right? So we can make that be a positive, and then we change these signs, right? So those become negative. That way, we're not, when we think about subtracting, we have 2x minus x, right? 2x minus x would be just 1x left. And then negative 4 and negative 1. So instead of thinking negative 4 minus positive 1, we're thinking negative 4 plus negative 1, which would be negative 5 over x minus 2. All right, and then, yep, there's that. All right. Next one, we have to multiply our function times 2. Okay. So this is C, and it wants us to do 2 times f of x, right? So we're going to be doing 2 times x plus 1 over x minus 2. All right, and if we turn that into a fraction, that's just 2 over 1. And then we just distribute right here. So 2 times x would be 2x, and 2 times 1 would be 2. And that would be 1 times that, so 2x plus 2 over x minus 2. Super easy. All right, and the last one's D. And in this one, we're going to be dividing. Okay, so we've got D is 2 divided by f of x. Okay, so we're going to keep our 2 on top. And then for the bottom, we're going to do x plus 1 over x minus 2. Now remember, to get rid of a fraction on the bottom, we're going to flip and multiply on the top and the bottom. So x minus 2 right here, x plus 1 right there, and we do the same thing up top. Now it's helpful to write this 2 instead of just a 2. We're going to write that as 2 over 1, right? We're going to make that into a fraction. Now here, all this cancels to get rid of the bottom of this. And then we just multiply across the top. 2 times x would be 2x. 2 times 2 would be 4 over x minus 1. Whoops, I think that's supposed to be plus 1. It is. There we go. And that's our answer for that one. All right, so pretty easy. It's all stuff that we've kind of done before. Finally, we can combine a function with an algebraic expression. All right, so if f of x is 6 minus x, for a, we're going to say f of x plus 2x minus 3. Okay, so we're just going to replace our f of x with the value that they gave us for the function. So that would be 6 minus x plus 2x minus 3. All we're going to do is combine like terms here. So we've got negative x and 2x, so that basically that's 2 minus 1, so we'd be left with x. And then 6 minus 3 would be positive 3. So we should get x plus 3. Pretty easy for that one. All right, for b, we're going to be subtracting it from an expression. So for b, we've got 2x minus 3 minus f of x. Okay, so if we write this out, they got that in parentheses, 2x minus 3 minus our f of x value, which is 6 minus x, right? First thing I'm going to do is distribute this negative sign. So I'll have 2x minus 3, and I'm going to distribute that, so that makes that be negative 6, and then that makes that one be plus x. Now I can put my x terms together, and I'll get 3x minus 9. Yep, there it is, 3x minus 9. Okay. Okay, next one, it wants us to multiply f of x times an algebraic expression. All right, so for c, we've got 2x minus 3 times f of Alright, so we're just going to copy that down. Leave it in parentheses when we're multiplying. Now we're just going to put our f of x in parentheses, which is 6 minus x. Okay, and now we're just going to rainbow this. 2 times 6 would be 12x. 2 times x would be negative 2x squared, so 2x times negative x, negative 2x squared. Then this one would have negative 3 times 6 would be negative 18. And then negative 3 times negative x would be positive 3x. Because we have a negative times a negative. Okay, now I got to put our like terms together. First we're going to have our 2x squared. That doesn't have any, negative 2x squared. Doesn't have any like terms. Our x terms, we've got 12x and 3x, which would be 15x. And then on the end here, we've got this negative 18. And that should be the answer right there. Double check that. Negative 2x squared plus 15x minus 18. Yep. Alright, so these are just like algebra problems you've done before. You're just replacing the value of the function, whatever that function is, with the spot where it says f of x. Alright, for D, we're going to be dividing. So we're going to have f of x divided by 2x minus 3. So all we have to do is put our f of x value where the f of x is. So our 6 minus x. So the top is going to be 6 minus x, and the bottom is 2x minus 3. And I don't think that we might be able to reduce that. Let's see, if we swap that around and we had negative x plus 6 over x minus 3. No, there's not really anything we can do with that. So that's the answer right there. Just leave it the way it is. All we did was substitute that with the 6 minus x. Alright, so the homework for problems 1 through 5, you're going to find f of plus g of x. Let's see, where is what it tells us what it is. Okay. So for these look confusing, how you're going to write it on your paper is you're going to write number 1, right? And then you're going to have a. Okay. So for number 1, we're going to be using these functions, okay, for f of x and g of x. And then for a, we're going to do this. So this is f plus g of x, right? Which means f of x plus g of x. Okay, and for number 1, that f of x is going to be x plus 1, and g of x is going to be x minus 1. And we're just going to put those together, so that would be 2x plus 1 minus 1, that'd be 0. So there's your answer for A. Now for B, we're going to be doing f minus g of x. Okay, so that would be f of x minus g of x. And here's our value, right, for number 1. That's our value. So our f of x is going to be x plus 1 minus, our g of x is x minus 1. Okay, and then I like to distribute that negative, so I'll have x plus 1 right there, and then I'll have minus x plus 1. X minus x, there's not going to be any x's left. We're just going to have 2. Alright, and then you would go on to C. So you'd write that, and then you would plug in your functions for 1. Once you finished all the way down, right, then you would do that same thing for number 2. Okay, using those values. Alright, that is it for Chapter 2, Part 2. Thanks for watching.